I want to go to McLaren. And there's a reason I want to go to McLaren is because from what I have heard and what you guys have said on this show, McLaren looked to be with Red Bull just a slight tier below Ferrari and Mercedes. Now, that might not last, but I'm curious about where you think they stand early. Will it be something where they come on strong later? Where are McLaren right now?
Tim and I are going to disagree on McLaren, that's for sure.
Great. We love disagreements.
I think they are in the mix. I think they're really in the mix. I don't think they're fourth best. I think they held back a little and they had a super impressive race run. And later on, we learned they didn't have the latest specification of Mercedes engine that they will now have. I also think they have a better gearbox than the Mercedes does. So I think this team, strange to say it for a World Championship winning team, is the sleeper favorite.
I actually don't disagree with Nelson on that one. I really don't. I think when you look at the development that has to go into this car, speaking with Andrea Stella like a number of times over the past few months, this is a car that I think has been created to add development to it. It was just strong with a strong base and build off of it. And like, holy geez, like they started with a strong base. The car looked like smooth as butter on the track during week
rails.
2. Yeah. It looked great. And they hadn't even added anything to the car either. They're not going to add anything to it heading into Australia either. I mean, that's the sign of a pretty confident team heading to the track. Granted, you also have Mercedes power in the back of your car. And also, Nelson had mentioned it with the gearbox. That's going to play such a significant role within the season as well, especially early on, that if you have that strong combination that's working really well together, which it does seem like it is, I would say they are one of the favorites, Adam, for this Constructors Championship.
And this is why testing in Bahrain can be a bit deceptive, because they really didn't go for any fast laps.
No.
They were always there or thereabouts.
Yeah.
And just the way that car looks on track it feels such a dream. Yes, they had a little bit of mid corner understeer in the faster bits, but that's not a bad thing to have, especially since this car is quite biased to the rear anyway with the loss of grip. So I think they're in a great position and they have great people to add to it. As Tim says, they are ready to throw development at this car.
I got to ask you guys a question. McLaren is such an interesting case study because they essentially, years ago, were in the same place Williams is now. You're talking about a once great brand that fell off pretty hard, couldn't retain star drivers. We talk about Lewis Hamilton. We talk about Fernando Alonso. They rebuilt this program under Zach Brown. They've had a couple of team principals, and they would tell you, and it's pretty hard to disagree, although Ferrari might have something to say about this, they would tell you they have the best driver lineup on the grid.
And they do.
And I agree with that. But again, I'm showing my bias. I'm also a McLaren fan. I was there for the bad times, though. I want to know what is the strength? What is the beating heart of this McLaren team that they seem to be, compared to a few years ago when they were really on the come up and they were inconsistent? They seem to be a lot more confident in what they are, and they seem to have done really well through this regulation, as you guys have just mentioned. What do you attribute that success to?
I did a documentary on this for VIAPlays.
I wasn't going to steal your thunder there, buddy.
What is clear is that Zach has created a culture where people listen to each other, where they're not afraid to voice an opinion, and where people are understood what their value is. So, for instance, the aero department there under Peter Pomodou, it's never been happier, it seems like. The techno department is able to take risks where possible. What is most impressive is that every development they seem to bring to the track seems to work. Now, there is a tendency to overcompensate and over-regulate, and you see that in that battle with Norris and Piastri last year. They're micromanaging. but there is not a blame culture, and there seems to be a lot of open communication within that team. People are finding each other, and that may be the best way to describe the management structure that is in place. It is easy for the right people to have the right conversations at the right time together.
Yeah, I would say that the technical department is allowed to be creative. The creativity aspect of your younger aerodynamicists, your younger mechanical engineers, like that, they are allowed to experiment to see if something will go in a direction. And I think that's a part of Andrea Stella's experience working at other teams where stuff like that kind of got snuffed out and teams missed out on, developing great ideas or taking a car in a direction. And that's been one of the big things for Andrea Stella and this technical department that he has built out so well. And I would say Mark Temple getting moved up back in like May 2024 as one of the technical directors of performance. Like I would say that is a pretty big deal, on top of adding Rob Marshall to your aerodynamics and really helping that aerodynamic department like really build out. And I think having those types of great minds working together has taken McLaren to this new level when it comes to aerodynamic performance. Because, like we had said, they have a Mercedes in the back of their car. They don't really need to worry about the power unit. All they need to really focus on is developing a good, strong chassis and something that they can build upon. And yeah, I believe that they've done that for this season.
Yeah, and it's also vehicle dynamics. How do you work the tires? And that's maybe something we haven't touched upon. But getting your rears to survive for a stint this year is
Something
going
they
to
were
be
so
quite.
good at last year. Yeah.
Yeah, and Rob Marshall is the point in case, because he was brought in as a manager,
Yep.
and then they realized, hang on,
Yep.
you still have that passion to design, and you've got great ideas. Listen up, you're our head vehicle designer, basically vehicle dynamics designer, and he was unleashed, and they've been able to unleash the people they had or got, because they also recruited really well, and this team is just a powerhouse.
Okay, so let me ask you about Papaya rules, gentlemen, because if this team's a powerhouse, those are going to come to the fore. I mean, they've been an issue the last couple of years. How have they changed? Because my understanding is there have been some slight tweaks.
Well, I don't think the Papaya rules have been changed. I do
Okay.
think that a lot of the noise around Oscar Piastri has changed. We know Mark Webber isn't going to be a feature in the paddock as much as it was.
Why is that? Sorry to interrupt. Why is that?
I think he was let's say, a staunch defender of Piastri, but within McLaren's philosophy, it may not have worked, and it may not have helped Piastri in the end as well. But I think McLaren has prevailed in that discussion. What they say goes in terms of driver rules, and I think they regret giving it the moniker Papaya rules, because we've gotten a stick to beat them with.
That's a good way to put it.
In the end, every team with drivers of equal capabilities will struggle with this, and McLaren is no different. They just put on a sexy name and said, "Oh, look at us, we've got Papaya rules." I think nothing has changed there.
Okay.
For Piastri, I don't know how much time we got real quick.
Oh, you get some time.
Okay. When it comes to Mark Webber and Oscar Piastri, definitely like they still stay in contact during the testing. We had spoken to Oscar about it, and he still calls him like a couple times a week. They still have communication going on between the two of them. It's not like there was a fallout or anything like that. Mark is still part of the program, so to speak. When it comes to Lando Norris, this seeing him, chatting with him, he just looks different, confident. Yeah, okay. It looks like the weight is off the shoulders. And there was a there was a relaxation and a confidence with him, and I noticed that on the track, like watching him on the Friday night. Man, he was just banging out laps after lap after lap. Looked super comfortable. He could push when he wanted to. He knew he was very measured with everything that he did when he was out on the track that night. It was really impressive to see. And I still say that I still think that, once you get that one world championship sort of out of the way, that's the one. Like, look at what happened with Max, right? It was a little herky-jerky trying to get that first world championship. There was a lot of mistakes and there were some things here and there, but once he got it, after that, see you later, right?
Yeah.
I think the same sort of thing could happen for Lando as well. Just getting that one championship out of the way, and maybe that opens the door, makes things a little more natural for yourself throughout a season.
So, where do you have them, guys?
Oh, you want me to go first? I got them. Okay. McLaren's going to win the Constructors World Championship.
Same. I got it too. Yep.
Wow. We've got a number one from both of you guys. Again, a rare agreement because you guys have kind of disagreed on a few different things.